and I was looking for a way to get off the road in 1983. I was 33 at the time, and my cousin's roommate was a guy that had bought this. It's called an ICP, is the acronym, Inductively Coupled Plasma Atomic Emission Spectrometer. I see you got Tower Power playing there.
You could just call it
There's Lenny Pickett that I was in the band with. There's my cousin Bruce. Who,
Dude, this is you guys?
He's the...
Can we hear
Lenny,
this?
Lenny is the... well, that's, in fact, Lenny Williams just sang the national anthem at the Giants game last night and forgot the words.
Where are you in this, Victor?
Let me say... This may or may not have been the period where I'm in the band. I can't tell. These are all the same guys, but this may have been a bit before I joined the band. I don't see. It's Rocco is playing here, the original bass player. This is the guy that I replaced.
That's a huge band. How many people were in that band?
10. There were 10 guys.
You guys must have tore it up on the road.
I had a lot of fun.
I bet you did.
I had a lot of fun.
So you went from that. How do you go from that to?
And then so I was looking for a way to make money, and this guy, Jack Cameron, that had graduated with my cousin from USC, had started a lab in Santa Barbara. And he bought this piece of equipment that could analyze any sort of biological fluid, tissue, blood, urine, but they mainly used these pieces of equipment. His actual contract that he had at the time was with Hughes Aircraft, and they would drain the oil from the engines on a jet and analyze the oil for the concentration of metals, so they would know when to replace the engine parts. But he also knew that there was an application of this in terms of medical and specifically sport application. And he knew that I was a track athlete in high school and college. And he said, "I've got an idea." And he pitched this to me. I went down to Santa Barbara where the equipment was at that time. And long story short, I couldn't even pronounce the name of the instrument, but I said, sure, it sounds like a good idea to me. I could buy it for $10 an analysis and sell it for $25 an analysis. So I was in business. He flew up to the Bay Area and hooked me up with a few medical doctors, and they started using the service. And
so you had no background?
I had no background whatsoever.
Wow.
And, but, I've always had, people have called it Victor's knack. And so I founded Balco in March of 1984. Well, immediately I started, hooking up with world-class athletes. The first one was Alberto Salazar, who was the world record holder in the marathon at the time. He'd won the New York City Marathon 2 or 3 times. And shortly after, it was Matt Biondi, who at that time was the world's fastest swimmer, who won 7 or 8 gold medals in the Olympics in 1988. And it just continued. The next thing you know, I had professional football players, and so I started building this database, and I just kind of learned as I went along, and eventually I did learn how to run and operate the equipment, and we became fully Medicare certified and licensed, and so.
So what exactly were you doing for these athletes initially?
Well, we were analyzing. We called it multiple compartment, multi-element analysis. So we would look at up to 40 different elements, predominantly minerals and trace elements, and we'd centrifuge the blood, separate it into the fluid portion, the plasma or serum, and the packed cells or red blood cells. We looked at whole blood, we looked at urine. So we would calculate the retention excretion and all these ratios, and then I would develop individualized nutrition programs for the athletes. In a short period of time, I had Bill Romanowski showed up at Balco's door. It was when he left the 49ers in 95, and then he went to Philadelphia for a year and had a great season. He won a game. He had 24 tackles in a game. Following year, he became the leader of the